big news in the AV integrator world.
What do you mean integrator? Why is it limited to integrators, Mark? Just because you're an integrator, what about the consultants? What about the clients, eh?
Nobody cares about them, Pete.
G'day everyone, Pete Tecman Coman here for another exciting episode of The Tech Effect. And the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Mark, the bearded tech Skehan. Welcome, Mark, to the show. There we go. There's the crowd.
Crowd is going wild, as it always does.
As it should, and as it should.
But probably it should just give me, a sad trombone, because that's exciting. Mate, how are you?
I'm great. And yourself?
Yeah, keeping very, very well. A little busy at the moment, Pete.
A little busy and a little early as well. I believe it's roughly, 6 a.m.?
6 a.m. Yeah, wet the bed this morning. Not actually. Let me clear this up for those outside of Australia who might be listening to this. I didn't actually wet the bed.
I say that they don't understand it over here, right? So like, I'm here. Someone turns up to the office early, and I go, "Hey Ed, did you wet the bed this morning?" He's like, "No, why?" I'm like, oh my god, it's a saying. It's a saying.
It's a saying. It means if you wet the bed, it means you had to get up. So you got out of bed early. Ultimately.
That's right. You had to get up, you had to change your sheets, and you're awake at that point, right? So it's like there's no point going back to bed. So just to clarify.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm up early.
You're up early. That's right. And you can see it's obviously earlier than our usual show because it is still daylight outside
in NYC. And you're coming into winter anyway, so it should be getting darker early. So
it is getting darker
that's how early it is.
It's 4 p.m. at the moment.
4 p.m. starting to cool off.
And it is starting to cool off. It's still daylight savings. I think it either ends this weekend or next weekend. So then obviously it's going to get darker a little earlier, and things are starting to get a little cooler. It's averaging about 13, 14, 15 degrees Celsius. That is. Still can't work in Fahrenheit, but so it is. It's getting a little crisp.
50, isn't it about 50 degrees?
Something like that. I think 72 is 22 degrees, and what's freezing, like 32 or something?
32, yeah. And it gets below that, it's just really cold.
You just don't even bother measuring it.
Actually, I got a friend in Montana, and he was putting something that it was 15. No, it was 3 degrees Fahrenheit in Montana.
Oh wow!
This week, and I'm like, truth, man, that's like negative 15 degrees. I'm going. Yeah. It's just cold. There's just comes a point when I find in the States and Canada as well, is that there's a point where it's not fun anymore. It's just friggin' freezing. Yeah, it's just cold, and all the fun's gone out of it. So and I think it's about minus 15, minus 20 that becomes
way too cold.
Way too cold.
Yeah.
Anyway. Hey, Pete, we have a very exciting show. One that
every show's exciting. What are you talking about?
Well, again, we have another exciting show again, and one that I actually had to get out of bed early for.
You did,
because you were never going to let me off this one.
That's right.
We have. We're going to call. What do we call it? Because we love an unboxing, right?
We do, and I was planning on doing an unboxing, but
we're calling this a boxless unboxing.
Yeah, the cleaner threw the boxes out.
Yeah, I hate when they do that.
No unboxing.
You've had a very busy last few hours, really, or day.
Yes,
ultimately.
That's right.
Trying to fit in a little bit of work around media, and you are a bit of a media tart, are you not? Like
media tart.
You're not.
What's it? Oh, come on, this is these Australianisms, right? I think you need to explain what's a tart to our international fans.
You like the media. Let's just say that you like the media, and you're not afraid to get in front of front of the media and the camera and
love a camera. Yep.
On a podcast or a call, wherever you possibly can. You know, you're everywhere. You're a floozy. Maybe
that's right.
You're a media floozy. For wanting another word, but anyway.
I think there's many adjectives that come to mind, but I think that's probably probably the safest place to leave it.
Yes, let's leave it there. So anyway, I digress. What has happened today? Big news in the AV integrator world.
What do you mean integrator? Why is it limited to integrators, Mark? Just because you're an integrator? What about the consultants? What about the clients? Say,
nobody cares about them, Pete.
Yeah,
I thought we had this conversation. Anyway, it's big news in the AV world.
Yep, it is.
And the on-flow is for the client, and it's great for consultants, and it's also great for the integrator.
That's true. It's great for everybody.
Yep.
And that is today Crestron released a brand new product.
Wow.
A new series of touch panels, and this is, there we go. There's the crowd.
Applause to Crestron.
Yeah, and
it's amazing how they can just stop like that when they're.
No, that's right. That's exciting enough for them. Yeah. They've had enough. Next.
So tell us about this. This is
this particular panel here is this is a 10-inch version, and what they've done is not only they've redesigned the touch panel, so we've got higher resolutions, we've got smaller bezels, but this particular one, in the past, if you wanted a tabletop like version, you would have to have you'd have to buy a separate tabletop kit.
Yeah, right.
Right. So you'd buy the touch panel and then you had the kit.
This is, let's just get to some technical stuff here just for a second. This is a TSW, so replace the new and improved version for the Crestron TSW series.
Yep. So this is the 1070. Yeah. So that they call this
1070.
1070. Yep. So obviously the previous
from the 1060.
Correct. Yeah. So the previous series of touch panels was the 60s series, and obviously now they've gone up to the 70 series.
It's a pretty slick looking bit of kit from over here.
No, look, it is beautiful. What I said on the call today. So what they did is that I was invited to help launch the new series of touch panels. So they selected a consultant, a client, and an integrator, and we were on a panel. And then there was Tim Albright from AV Nation. He was sort of chairing the panel. And so he was asking us questions. So obviously they sent this out to me last week. So I've been having a bit of a look and feel of the touch panel, and they did that with all the people on the panel. And so they wanted to get our thoughts on it, which I thought was a really good way of launching a product, because typically a company would be going, get their marketing people out there and, oh, this is great and blah, blah, blah. And there's all this rah-rah about it. But
there's a whole heap of marketing spin and lies. I mean, truth, useful information. What they've done here is actually go to real world people who are going to tell us. So obviously they must have had a lot of confidence in this product, that it was a good product.
Well, yes, and obviously they've been working on this for a long time, and they got to a point where they were like, okay, we need to launch it. Obviously, with COVID, there's no in-person stuff, launches going on. So it's like, okay, we're going to do it virtually. How could we make this more interesting? And as I said, I was honored that I was selected to represent the consultants, not only I suppose really around the world, to discuss this, which is a great honor, and to help them launch it. So it was great. That happened today. But when they sent it to me, the first thing was that you notice is the weight. It's got a aluminium chassis on it, so there's no plastic at all. And you can see that it is a custom design for the desktop. So there's no parts. There's no parts that plug into it at all.
Yep.
It's wireless, however, but it's not.
It's wireless.
It's wireless, but it's not. It's what the Claytons of wireless,
It's
right?
it's a Clayton's wireless.
Yes.
Why is it a Clayton's wireless? Because why?
Because it has Wi-Fi built into it, so you can connect wirelessly, but it still needs power. There's no batteries built in, which
sticking point.
Yeah, look, I think it's a missed opportunity. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think this is a great product, but imagine if this had batteries in it and you could actually just pick this up and plonk it down on the table.
Well, yeah, more to the point that you could pick it up and move it, so without it dying, ultimately, yeah. So you pick it up and move it, you got to unplug it from the power, and then you've killed the power. So there's no battery to even hold 10 minutes.
No, it's still tethered. It's still tethered to the wall. I just thought, you've got a beautiful product like this in the boardroom. I think there would be an expectation to be able to just pick it up and put it on the table.
Yeah. Very good point. Yes. Maybe so, not necessarily moving out of your bedroom and into your kitchen, which look,
no.
You know, there's an upgrade path, I guess, isn't there, for it? So
well, look, obviously for the last couple of weeks we've been in talks with Crestron about the launch and about the product, so we were more familiar with it, for the launch today. And obviously that was one of the things that I brought up with them and said, look, so where do you put the batteries? And it's like, no batteries. But maybe that's the next version, the upgrade that they bring out soon, hopefully.
Yeah, well, battery technology is also evolving at a fairly rapid pace, isn't it? And I suppose there's the weight in that as well. Maybe that was a consideration. And
well, I would say I think they got the weight right. It's not too light. Like before, it was a bit plasticky, a lot of plastic parts, a plastic stand on it, and the rest, the housing was all plastic. They said this is all aluminium or aluminum, as they call it, as they call it here, and it's made out of one piece. So once again, on the panel, there was some questions about, is it adjustable? Like, is a tilt adjustable? No, it's not. It's fixed. It's probably.
So if you're a short person and you can't quite see it, stand up. If you're a tall person, stand over.
Yeah.
Is the viewing angle fine no matter where you're at?
Well, it looks to me that it's at about 45 degrees. I don't know what the exact specifications.
More so that if you know how with the the old days of the early LCD and you
back in my day.
Yeah, back in my day. As soon as you set off, I don't know, 15 degrees off axis, you could barely read it, barely see it.
Yeah, but I think with the higher resolution, I think with everything that's gone on with it, I haven't got, this only arrived late last week, and I haven't been able to sort of plug it in and fire it up and put a project on it. So I don't know personally what it looks like with something on the screen, so I can't comment on the viewing angles.
Sure. Yep. That's okay.
Unfortunately.
That's a bit disappointing, Pete. I would have hoped you'd lifted your game up there, but look, there's only so many hours in the day, and I know,
as you know,
you're a very busy person, and with all your media and middle distance running and
what's that?
Skiing
and
distance
running,
soccer, and there's a bit of work that's got to happen in there somewhere in the meantime.
Somewhere along the lines, you got to pay the bills, right? You
got to pay the bills. So talk me through the mounting. So you've got to, obviously this is a table mount.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing some separate SKUs.
Separate SKUs. All right. So in the past, it was the one SKU for a 10-inch, except obviously the different colors, the black and the white, and then you would either add, like whatever mounts you require. But this one there's a SKU for this, and then there's a SKU for the 10-inch wall mount version. And just, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but
I'll just see if I can get a bit closer and I'll see.
So down the bottom, there's all these holes. Come closer, Mark. There's all these holes down the bottom. So this is where the speakers are down here. And then there's there's a sensor there. So that detects any movement. So if you come close to the panel, you can actually configure that for the panel to turn on.
Right. Did you say that's a Bluetooth sensor?
Well, there's Bluetooth built into it as well. So what Crestron have launched recently is the Crestron One app. So you install the app on your phone.
Yep.
And then it has a Bluetooth beacon built into it. So what happens is I can walk into the room, open up the app, and it will know what room I'm in because the proximity of the phone to the touch panel.
Right.
Yeah. So then I can control the room from my phone rather than from the touchscreen.
Yeah. Okay. And which means it's a little bit more COVID safe.
Well, that's the thing. All right. That we're after. I think a lot of people want a touchless and a touchless environment.
Oh.
So you like that? Touchless
words and
touchless. So you've got the touchless. You could use your phone. You could use the app and control the room, or you could like one-touch meetings. So there's an Android engine built into it, so you can have it as a Zoom room or a Teams room, and just come up and hit join meeting.
And away you go.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, one thing I have just reading the press release prior to getting on here is that there is a lot of
Mr. Research.
Yeah, Bruce
as
McAvaney,
they call you.
Yeah, the Bruce McAvaney of the tech world. I'm sure Bruce is a bit more organised than I am. But there's a lot of app integration. Yeah, so it seems that they've got Sonos app, Crestron Room scheduling app, third-party scheduling apps, Zoom Room app, Microsoft Team app. So there must be sort of a push to moving away from a product for this and a product for that. It's like, this is the one-stop shop and you just call when you initially set it up. Is that the sort of...
I believe that's where they're headed. Yeah, I was a little surprised like when they brought out the touch panels, because they, like, from an orientation point of view, that you can buy like a 5-inch in a portrait or a landscape version.
Yeah.
And I said to them, I said, well, why have you got 2 SKUs for that? Why not just have the same part and you just be able to spin it around?
Or they rotate.
And and they said, because of the logo. And I'm like,
come on.
Sony, I mean, the other companies have done it for years where you can turn around and that's like a little, there's an LED behind it and you choose whether it's a top or bottom. So if you want the logo to be visible, you could, you can light it up. So it doesn't matter which orientation you choose. But anyway,
that's
the
only reason. That's interesting, isn't it?
That was the only reason. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, isn't that a lot of, I just would have thought the engineering effort required, to move that, well, to actually have it, have the flexibility would have outweighed 2 SKUs. But anyway.
Yeah, right. Okay. So some of the other things we got built into this sucker, we've got, what have we got? Voice recognition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I don't have a lot of information on it. I don't know if it supports Alexa or Siri or Google Home. I'm not sure. I would hope it does. I think because there's a lot of products these days that you buy, especially displays like TVs, I know my TV at home supports both Google and Alexa out of the box.
Yeah.
So I hope that that's what they're talking about. They don't mention it in their specifications there exactly what it is. So I don't know yet.
Yeah, interesting, because you would think they haven't gone and done their own complete proprietary.
Well, they have had that for a while. They've had that for a long time, actually. Since Alexa really first came out, they were one of the first, if not the first in the industry to actually leverage that. But the problem is that their engine involved, you had to say something along the lines of, hey, Crestron, tell Alexa to blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right. Or some, words to that effect. It wasn't native Alexa or native Google built in. It was this other process. And people that I'd spoken to who tried to write rules around that then found it very difficult because, is it a TV? Is it a flat screen? Is it a LCD? Is it like there's different terminology used for the same product?
Yes. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how that sort of unfolds and what technology they haven't really gone into any detail on the on the website and the spec sheet. So streaming video, native support H.265, H.264, motion JPEG.
Yep.
So basically, you'd be streaming live video. That's nothing new though. Live video onto a touchscreen, is it?
However, we're talking about higher resolutions. Okay, so for the 10-inch, we're 1920 by 1200.
Right. Well, speaking of resolution,
what resolution would that be?
Well, in my research and in my world, and I think
you've been doing this for a while.
I've been doing that, and this resolution in particular.
Right.
This is why I challenge this conversation.
1920 by 1200. So it's a 16 by 10 aspect ratio.
Yes. WUXGA.
What's the significance of making such a point about this?
In these spec sheets, not once but twice I read it. It was WXGA, and I've gone.
That can't be right, Mark. That can't be right. What's WXGA? What resolution's that?
1280 by 800. So
it's not 1280 by 800.
It is. Go and ask.
No. I'm talking about the panel. I'm talking about the panel.
Okay, you're right.
The panel's not that resolution.
No, we would expect more, and we got delivered more. Maybe there's just a little bit of miscommunication from tech to marketing.
But maybe they got the intern who was actually filling in the spec sheets.
Yeah.
No,
let's just hope it's that, and not a highly technical engineer that's gone. It's WXGA. Yeah. Ask Panasonic. Ask all those projection display. Yeah, that 1920 by 1200 is definitely WUXGA.
So there's a typo on the Crestron website in the spec sheets.
Yes.
There you go. You heard it here first.
I've caught I've caught something that's really small and turned it into something really big. But hey, that's all part of the fun. What else are we looking at in here? We've got Bluetooth beacons, web browsing.
Yep.
Not only we've got Wi-Fi. Did we cover off it's got wired?
Yeah, so
you can still do PoE.
You can still do PoE. It's a PoE device. So it has it's probably a little bit hard to see.
Cable management process.
Well, that's the thing that I love about it. You remember the other tabletop kits, like for the 60 series and so on. Indeed. You'd bolt it onto the back. You'd have to feed the cable through, and there's all these screws, and you got to get it right. And then it has to bend back on itself, the cable, to fit it all in. It was an effort.
Yep.
Now you just grab the cable and plug it straight in the back.
Plug it in.
I haven't got a cable here. I should have been more prepared. I could have showed you how easy it was. And then
if it was me, I'd have probably been prepared. But it's like research and stuff.
No, I haven't got any cables here. I'm sorry, but you plug the cable in, and then you just have there's like a little cover that just snaps in like that.
Nice.
Job done.
Is that the only connectivity that's in there, Pete? I mean, you've got power, you've got PoE.
There's a USB port.
Right, and what are we going to be using the USB port for?
They're talking about connecting other peripherals to it. Obviously like
charging
a USB. Potentially. It's probably more practical to do that than maybe hook up maybe a microphone or other devices. So I think on a whole, it's there for the tabletop. Well, sorry, for the wall mount version, there's actually 2 USBs on there. So if what they're thinking with that is that, they've got those wall mounted room availability signs.
Yep.
So they're all USB. So what they're saying is, you just run a USB cable down and plug it into the back of the touchscreen.
Okay, sure that opens up a whole another load of set of questions, but yeah.
Or as a room booking panel, you could hook it up like that, and that's the other thing is that it's basically just the 1 series. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the ability to sort of bring it all together and just order one of those, and we can do whatever we want with it. I like that. Certainly like that concept. So high-speed USB, Crestron 1 support, mounting accessories, tabletop permits, 300 what? Am I reading that?
300 nits you're talking about?
330-degree swivel rotation. No, 400 nits, I'm sure I read in the spec.
Was it? I can't remember.
Nice and bright. High res. The one thing that caught my eye was the SIP, built-in SIP intercom.
Mm-hmm.
So has that been something that's been through previous series, or that's been introduced?
Good question. I think it has been in previous series, the SIP intercom.
Anyway, we shall have to find that one out.
Should do some more research.
We should do some more research. Look, it looks like it's a great product.
Look, it looks great.
Designed, well thought out.
It's very Apple-like. Like I think you could actually put an Apple sticker on the back of it, and you'd say this is the new Apple control panel.
Yeah, or stick a latch on a stylus pen on a magnet to the side of it or something like that, so you could use it as multi-use.
Oh, one thing it doesn't have that the previous screens had
is the hard buttons down the side.
Hard buttons down the side. No hard buttons down the side. So what they've done is that they've replaced that with soft buttons that are programmable. So you can actually have them down the side or across the bottom. Yeah. And you can, at the moment, they're mimicking the previous buttons that were available, like down the side.
But you can change them out.
They're talking about that. I don't believe that you can change them at the moment, but I mean, and you can hard sort of set them down the side, so they're always available.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. But the other thing, it doesn't have a camera built in. The previous the TSWs had a camera.
Yeah, and not bringing out a SKU that does have that. At this point that you know of.
That's right.
Okay.
So there's a number of changes. I mean, it's not just cosmetic changes. There are some technical changes, lots of upgrades, and I'm sure that once they start hitting the market as of next week, and actually the project that we recently spoke about on the show that we're doing at Hudson Yards here in New York, we're actually we got the integrator to cancel the order for the TSW X60 series. Yep. We said cancel that. Right. There's a new panel coming. So that order's been cancelled. These will be the new models. The 70 series will be ordered on Friday, and which will be great because they'll go in straight away. It'll be one of the first projects in the world in the world
first. You are breaking records.
World first. Right there.
World first.
So that's exciting. So if we get to see firsthand, well, it could go one of two ways. It could be absolutely spectacular or
epic failure. Actually, how many screens in this?
Wow. There will be about nearly 40.
Well, it's significant. So it puts a bit of pressure on Crestron. They'll be happy to get them out there, no doubt. But
it better work.
It better work.
Well, the beauty about it, the beauty about it is that where we are, like so New York City, it's like with no traffic. It's about 40 minutes to Crestron. They're only just up the road. They're across the river and up the road just across the border in New Jersey. So they aren't far. So if there's a problem,
you can go knocking on their door.
we get the big wigs to come down and sort it out.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Actually, I'd be really interested to see, because one thing I find with and you've probably found this with a lot of new products coming out, they do get released quite early, and then they seem to deploy a Microsoft mentality is, well, let's just get it out there, and we'll let the world fix the problems, and report back. And look, I've got a product at the moment, which I won't say what it is, but it's sitting and go, the concept is so good, but it's about 10 firmware versions of being really awesome.
Right.
At the moment, it's a pain in the ass. There's no nice way to put that. It's just a pain. And quite frustrating. So it's 95% awesome and 5% frustrating as hell.
But the only thing I would say in Crestron's defense there is that they've been doing touch panels for a long time. So it is a new format. They're upping the resolution, but it's not a new product. Like, it's not as if they've just released. It's not their first line of touchscreens. I mean, God knows. I mean, this is probably generation 10, 11, something like that. They're a long way down the track. So
ultimately, really what they're known for, isn't it? Crestron control.
Well, control, correct. Yeah. So
I did hear, was it you that told me? I did hear that really control and touchscreens is only about 10% of their business these days.
Yeah, that wasn't me. But they've got such a wide portfolio. So
the distribution's pretty huge from now.
Correct. Yeah. So that's exciting, but that's why I'm not concerned. I've got full faith in Crestron and these new touch panels because they've been doing it for such a long time. So I'm not worried about that, and I can't wait for them to be installed and get to see them in use firsthand. Excellent.
All right, so Crestron.com if you want to know more information. I believe cut sheets and information is all hitting the website probably as we speak, because we're pretty cutting edge. We deliver pretty early. Shipping this Friday in the States, at least October 30th. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. October the 30th. The pricing and shipping will be available. The information about the touch panels, even though some of the information is incorrect, as in WXGA, is all up. It's all there.
Yeah. Mounting kit information still not released yet. That's coming.
That's for the room scheduling. If you wanted to use it for room scheduling, there is no. My understanding is that there's no information on those kits. It is a different kit. It's a different back on them, so they do a different kit for that.
All right, awesome. Well, we look forward to we all probably look forward to getting our hands on them and deploying them and seeing the benefits. One more thing.
One more thing. I mean, there's so many things. There's so many new things about this touch panel. So because it's a higher resolution, what they've done is that they're doing automatic scaling of older projects. So if you've written a project for the older, lower resolution touch panels, you can. There's in the new software, which I probably should be released by now. So it does like smart scaling, so it can convert it all for you. So that's handy. You haven't got the programmers out there sort of redesigning the whole panel from scratch.
Yeah, that saves a bit of work. It's quite good. They've made some good innovations around that sort of stuff, Crestron, in the last couple of years, I think. And I think I hear that there's an IT person who's sort of bringing a lot of IT smart or logic and stuff into the technical and R&D. So
that was the other thing that came up, is that obviously we're working with converged networks these days, and so these panels have all the certifications, Microsoft Azure and so on. So, which is important. Yeah. Correct. And it's important because you start talking to the IT guys and they're saying, that's the first question that they ask. They ask about the security of these devices. And if it doesn't have that, they're going, mate, it's not going on my network.
Yeah.
So it's great that they've, realized it and they're producing products that conform to IT standards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, I literally had a client the other day. We're redoing a Crestron space with Crestron MBX. They do have an iPad control with the Crestron app, and they're like,
you have to show them this.
Be gone with it.
You don't need an iPad.
Yeah. They're ditching it, right? Because they're worried about the security. They've had so many issues with the iPads on their network with security and stuff like that. So they're going, give us the proper control panels every day of the week now. So this will be this is good. This is breaking. We're quoting on this, and hopefully we can win that one, get that one across the line as well. But
yeah,
mate, that's fantastic. Pete, what's coming up in future shows? If we move on, what do we got going on? What do you got going on this week?
This week is a busy week. I've got work to do.
That old thing.
Yeah, that old chestnut.
That old chestnut.
Yeah, got to pay the bills. No, we've got that on. But EduCause. So EduCause is a education/technology conference. It's obviously all virtual this year. Started today, goes through till Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the US. So I've been trying to jump on those listen into the webinars.
What are they covering off roughly at the moment?
Look, it's all sorts of stuff. I mean, I think like you and I, when we're on these kinds of calls, like back home in Australia, it's like these are the different topics, or these are the different presenters. And it's like this person's presenting then, and this person's presenting then, this person's presenting then, and they're all spread apart, right? So at the end of the day, there's probably 7 or 8 presentations in total. I was going through the list this morning, so I'm thinking I better get organized and work out which ones I want to sit in on and listen to. Oh my God. Like, I don't know. There must have been 50 or so, like just for today. And then what happens is that there's clashes. So like for every half an hour kind of block, there was like maybe 8 or so, or 6 to choose from. So you're kind of like, oh, that sounds interesting, but that also sounds good. And so there's so much choice, but you've got
browsers.
Well, you can, obviously you can. I had a couple running at the same time there, but obviously audio is the issue.
Yes.
But when you've got 330 million people in the country, there's always a plethora of knowledgeable people speaking on these topics. So you're going to have a lot of presenters to choose from. Good
stuff.
Just not enough days. Or hours.
Not enough days, not enough hours in that day, for sure. Sure. No, that's awesome.
What are you? Okay. What's going on in your world?
So
you said you're busy. Why are you busy?
Oh, look, for us, we're in budget time. It's coming into when most people are winding down in the rest of the world. December 1, we are ramping up. December, it's all hands on deck from December 1 through to end of January, which in Australia is the Christmas holiday period. It's the end of the year.
And this is with the schools, right? You're talking about school work?
The schools where education get their stuff done, because it's the only time they've got a window and their budgets roll from, calendar year. At the moment, as a, salesperson, my job is to get some of those things over the line, start winning those jobs and get, putting pressure on to get gear ordered, because I don't know about you over there, but over here at the moment, some gear is free flowing, some stock, but some is getting really hard to get. And so I've literally had a job where I certainly ain't proud of it, but we were waiting for nearly 9 months.
What? 9 months?
Yeah.
What? When was this ordered? Like sort of February or March or something like that?
Yeah. And we went, and it didn't turn up and because, when we could get back in, this was for a school job, and it was when we could get back in was the holidays. So it didn't, we ordered it just before the Easter holiday break, thinking we'd have a crack at it in Easter. Didn't turn up, got delayed. Let's hit it in June. Still didn't turn up. Turns up in like July, August or something like that. And so we get to deploy it into September holidays. Like, not fun from a client relationship point of view. I can tell you that one to deal with, but unfortunately, that's just the way it's rolling.
But I suppose also, obviously, the geographical location of Australia, everything comes in from overseas, basically, except for Rode microphones.
Pretty much.
Potential sponsor. But everything else has to be shipped in, right? Or like flown in. And so you've got delays overseas, and then you've got issues with, there's no planes flying. Like normally there's all these freight can be carried on commercial airlines. Well, they're not flying. So so it just has this huge snowball effect.
Yeah, very much so. So look, it's just, it just is what it is, and we're just dealing with it. And ultimately, schools that are getting organised, and they've all got. Look, normally every year I can pick it, right, as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go, okay, these schools are going to get all this sort of stuff done. I can't pick it this year. You know, I've had schools that are said, no, we're doing nothing 2 months ago to now they're doing everything, just to bringing everything forward. Some are just going, we don't know how much money we're going to have. We don't know what enrollment is going to be like. And look, we only really work in the private sector, private schools, private independent schools. So
I was going to ask you then, like, I mean, I was going to say, is the reason for that because there's government funding? Like, you know, like quite often when you have these situations, you know, the GFC and that kind of thing, the government tends to try and, you know, keep the economy going. They tend to put a lot of money into into education or hospitals or roads or, you know, utilities.
Yeah, so I think there's a little bit of game playing there as well, like pulling jobs forward for one client to make their balance sheet potentially look as crappy as possible, so that they can open themselves up for some more funding next year.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, there's always that smoke and mirrors sort of stuff happening, and but look, one other thing I wanted to just play, or just lay down the idea or the thought is that in the coming weeks, we've been doing a large job, and most people know, because you know I'm as media tartish as you. No, I'm not.
You are the man of the people. That's the word on the street. You are the man of the people.
Yeah. You know the people. There they are. I can hear them.
No, they're always cheering. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, right. So we do a lot of education stuff, right? That's pretty common. One thing we've done, is a sports club recently. It was interesting going to this
sports
GFC.
club. So it's kind of like a RSL,
golf club, sports club. Yeah,
like a country club kind of
leagues,
thing.
Clubs, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, over there, what would you call that? A country club, probably.
Probably a country club. There'd be the similar things, but they're a bit. It's funny, like, but normally the sports clubs and RSLs are funded by like poker machines and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Typically over here, slot machine. Yeah, typically you don't see that here. I mean, you have a casino and that's it. There's no other ways. But sorry, we digress.
Yeah. So we've done. So I'll just give a bit of a brief of what a sports club is. So there's most of the time they got lots of slot machines and they are funded, and that's what sort of funds the whole thing. That's where they make their money. But they also got quite a lot of normally 2 to 3 restaurants in them.
Yes.
Often there's function rooms in there that can be hired out. And what else is in there?
Well, they're typically a non-profit organisation, right? Not for profit.
Yeah, typically a non-profit, or
they put the money back into the sporting team. So they normally have a sporting team, like a rugby league team or an AFL team or whatever, it's soccer, and they push them whatever profits. They do renovation, so they upgrade the facilities and they pay all the people. They do all that. Any money left over, they put it back into the community.
Correct, and this is a consortium of 5 clubs actually. So
right. Okay.
Yeah, and so it's been a great job, but one of the things it completely gutted, right? To the point where
the whole thing or just a section?
No, the whole thing.
Oh wow!
Well, I'm going to call it 90%. They left one corner of a restaurant, and they left the elevator. They took the escalator out.
Wow!
Which was, they had to shut down streets and everything else to get the escalator out, and then put a new one in 90 degrees to the old one. Completely moved their entrance to a different street. So they've done a fairly decent amount of works, right? We've deployed, and they come to us, and we deployed through a lot of discussions. We were looking at AV over IP and good old fashioned RF. We end up going with IPTV, so using an Xterity system.
So what? Sorry, question on that. So obviously, for the last, what would you say, last 10 years, you would have to say that the standard has been HD based T, right, for video transportation, audio and video transportation, over twisted pair cable, over long distances. So what was the driver there to go, whilst AV over IP is what I believe is the future and really the current technology, what was it why did you choose that over HD based T, for example?
Look, HD based T why we chose it probably is a little bit selfish, I guess. Why we chose going the IP route is, in our business to some degree, we've made a decision that I think that HD-based, I could be proven wrong, but and probably will be proven wrong, but we've made a decision to sort of standardise down to the IP range. We've got a network engineer on board, so we've got skills in IT, and so that was one of the reasons. The other reason was we and why sort of IPTV over AV over IP is we wanted they had a lot of digital signage, right? And so we wanted something that had sort of a whole complete system built in. They were paying another company for digital signage that was then plugging into the old RF system. Yeah, and the RF, I'm not knocking RF. I come from the RF background, and RF works, right?
Jim's
RF,
antennas.
Yeah. Right. Skehan antennas, in fact, way back in the day.
Oh, really?
And RF works. Yeah, it just works, and it works forever until it doesn't, and then
until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. But anyway, so look, what I wanted to do is hopefully we should be handing this over in the next week to 10 days. And we've been through a few trials and tribulations and a few learning curves. And I guess I'm going to sit down with our team, hopefully in the next sort of, as I say, 7 to 10 days and write down, okay, we always do a job review. What did we do well? What did we do bad? What did we learn? What we do better next time. So what I want to do is be able to share that. And that might not be the next episode, depending on how this rolls
timing
out. But I really want to share that because I think that's important. We are people of the people. As we say,
people.
It's important that we share this information, and so people maybe don't have to learn the hard way as much as we did.
I agree, and what's interesting, what I found in my experience since coming over here is that I know we've been doing AV over IP projects in Australia for 4 years, 5 years, like even longer. So it is not uncommon to be doing that over here. HD-based T still seems to be the norm. Like there's seems to be some sort of resistance to go to AV over IP. In my experience so far, that's what I'm seeing. Yeah. So it's
there's really anything wrong with that, right? I mean, the HD-based T technology is certainly developing, and there's times where you go, just put a HD-based T transmitter and receiver in.
It has its place. It has its place. And sometimes you just want to transmit and receive. And I just want to go point to point. Why do I need to go through the network and do all that? You got the network security, you got all the configurations. There's all that. So it has its place, obviously. Yeah, but AV over IP gives you that flexibility, right? And potentially costs less as well if you've got the right IT infrastructure already in place. It's modular. You can be asymmetrical. So but I mean,
you get scale.
Horses for courses, right? Yeah, that's right. Scaling, not scaling as in video scaling, but scaling as in
scale it out.
Size. Yeah, correct. So
that's right. I agree.
So that'd be great. I'd love to know more about how that project's going and the challenges that you faced and how you've overcome those challenges. Because once again, I think a lot of people, especially in the AV world, are, I think, maybe sometimes a little fearful of going down that route. So I'm sure the things that you guys came across would be helpful to others.
Yeah, well, I hope so. And I hope I do it justice in explaining it, but because I wasn't really in that commissioning part, I just.
Oh, mate, what are you? You're the bearded tech.
See you later.
You're the bearded tech.
Yes, we'll come on. Look, if I'm not doing a bad job, you'll tell me, and then I'll just make something up, and it'll sound great anyway. So, don't you worry about that, Pete. It'll be just fine, mate. We do have to kick on, and shameless plugs. Find us on. Look on my. I've got to go that side again. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. There we go. Rolled it out. Check us out. We got some good reviews starting to roll in on the podcast, Pete. I don't know if you noticed.
Great.
5 out of 5.
Right. 5 out of 5. Yeah.
Yep. All one of them. I mean, sorry. Thanks, Mum.
Yeah, that's right.
But look, check us out. If we can get this, we can get some good reviews going, and that always certainly helps us and spurs us on, if nothing else, but certainly helps us.
Look, 5 out of 5. That's true. Look, 5 out of 5.
5. Yeah.
5 stars. Beautiful.
Just keep hitting those 5 stars. So if you liked it,
that's it.
If you like this show, you want to get more, send us a message on what you want to know about. Give us a thumbs up on LinkedIn and a share potentially, and even we'd love a comment because we love to engage rather than just scroll
Correct.
and tap. Give us 5 out of 5 on podcasts and Spotify and everywhere else that you can find us. So
that's right, and also on YouTube, we're on YouTube there, and if you come across one of our always subscribe. That's always the best thing to do, and you'll never miss our content because we are making content all the time,
like it's going all out the of time. Fashion.
And if you don't like one of our videos on YouTube, really let us know and give us a double thumbs down. Click the thumbs down twice to really let us know.
And what we'll do when you do that is we'll ban you from actually, so you can't ever do that again. No, we won't.
If you double click it twice, it undoes what you've just done.
That's right.
That's right.
Oh,
so if you're really unhappy, double click. Hit it twice.
Hit it twice. Yes.
That's it.
All right. Mate, thank you. Let's talk again next week and look forward to it.
Sounds great.
All right, guys. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Great. Bye for now. Yeah.